we're your foreign sisters. I'm Ligii.
And I'm Kitty. And today we're talking about love and similar topics.
Yeah, we
Yes.
decided that since it was Valentine's Day this month that we would like to talk about it. But it is quite a hard and complicated topic to talk about. Yeah, so maybe let's just jump right in.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to say, I definitely wanted to procrastinate on recording this one.
Yes. Yeah, so I think we should start by maybe explaining what love means to us. Do you want to start or should I?
You can start.
Okay. I feel like that has changed a lot of times in my life for me. Like the meaning of love and yeah, I come from a background, and I think it's also like a Latvian thing. We don't say "I love you" a lot, not to our like family or parents or our friends. We just never really said those words, and it was always kind of just assumed. And I feel like when I heard it coming from my mum, it was like guilt tripping. It wasn't as a "oh, I love you" kind of love you. But yeah, so it has been a very complicated relationship with love for me. And I thought I was in love quite a few times in my life. I remember I had this massive crush on this boy when I was like 16 to 18, and we weren't even friends. I just sat next to him in a couple of classes, and yeah, and I remember I daydreamed about him tons, and I wrote poems about him, and yeah, and I just felt this. I understand that I was a teenager and everything felt so intense, but looking back at it, like, how? I didn't even know the person, I can't imagine how horrible it would have been if anything had happened. But I technically did experience my first heartbreak because of him, although we never even were together, which is crazy. But I remember we had this like a Christmas ball at school, and we kind of danced together but not together, and it was like, it was like hot and cold. I feel like all of our relationship, if you can call it that, was because we were kind of like flirty but not flirty, kind of friends but not friends, and it like mocking each other but not. It was very difficult to understand. And I remember after this ball I was walking home, and it was snowing heavily, and it was like midnight, maybe 1 a.m, and I just went home crying. And yeah, and I remember sending low voice notes about it and being like, I'm so miserable, I am so unlovable. And I remember I had to, because my phone kept locking, the voice notes disappeared, and then I had to re-record them, and I kept crying, and obviously the re-recording part also stressed me out. But yeah, so I thought that was when I was in love, but I obviously wasn't. I don't think. It was just very intense crush. And then I had my first boyfriend, and I thought that was love, but I also don't think that was love. Now looking back at it, I think we were just friends who got really, really attached to each other. We kind of trauma bonded, I'd say, over
Trauma bonded.
Yeah, like different things, because that was the first time when I was like quite open about my past, and he was very supportive at the time, and yeah, and it also was very hot and cold, and we kept breaking up and getting back together, and it was just very toxic, I remember. And then when we did finally break up, I didn't tell anybody for like a month or two, because I was like, I'm not sure if this is for real again. And yeah, and then it took me a few other toxic relationships to understand that they weren't love either. I kept just chasing the wrong things, and during therapy I learned that was just what I was used to, the love from our past, that we were chasing the same feelings. And now I can finally say that I am in a relationship that is filled with love, which is very confusing for me sometimes, and stressful, and it makes me anxious sometimes because I'm not used to it, and I'm feeling very hormonal lately because I got my implant inserted the other week, and he cooked for me, and I started crying because I was like, oh my god, you love me. You cook for me. And then he was like, yeah, I'll cook you whatever you want, and that made me cry even more. So to me, love at the moment means full acceptance by understanding who you are. So like knowing who you are, by not even me like mentioning it, like you knowing my favorite color is lilac because of the lilac bushes in the spring, or silly things like that, or knowing which seat I'll prefer, or what my favorite drink. I feel like knowing me, like fully knowing me, everything about me, all my flaws and insecurities and everything, and still accepting me and still choosing to be with me, even romantically and friends wise. I feel like that is true love to me right now, and I have plenty of it at the moment, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Oh, that's very cute. That's very cute. Well, thank you for sharing, because I think it's not easy to reflect on stuff like that, I guess. As for me, I mean, on some level, I can agree. I think the whole being taken care of feels like love, feels loving. Yeah, so what does love mean to me? Similar to you, I was thinking how back in the day, I definitely didn't. I couldn't really understand what love is. Oh my god, I feel like we. Oh yeah, I have this same conversation that we talked about before. I'm not sure if we talked about it on the podcast before, but there's this one time we were walking and we were talking about love, and I remember how I was saying how I felt like anyone who spent enough time together would eventually fall in love with each other. So like back then, I didn't really see anything else. Like I couldn't really grasp the idea of love, um, and I think even in school time, similar to you, I had a lot of crushes to people that I probably never even spoken to. But I wouldn't call I wouldn't call it love. It was more like, oh, I wish this person saw me and like liked me. And it was never even near to that. So it's hard to it was hard to, I guess, imagine. And similar to you, I think when you mentioned how in our home people didn't really say I love you, you could, it was kind of like, well, it's just there, it exists. It's because we're a family where there's definitely a love, right? Or because two people are together, they're probably in love. But I don't think there was I don't think I've had a lot of a lot of good examples, I guess, in my life. Even though there are like relatives and family members that are together and they're together for a long time, but you can see that one or the other person isn't fully happy, or the life isn't really as I would feel it would be good for me, or something like that. What does love mean to me? To me, now, after my previous relationship, it felt like exactly being accepted, being understood, being taken care of on some level. Obviously, it's not like the person has to do everything for you, but even like little gestures, like I don't know, making food or like making tea for you. I remember it was really difficult for me to even receive the love or the care that someone else would give me, and that was a learning curve. That was a learning curve. Yeah, I see love as you wanting to be with a person and just not needing to change the other person, and like existing together, but not in a very like not in this like just a dry version of it. Existing together can be also sad and loveless, but the fact that you can also not, just always shout about it, or like always have to give gifts or something, and just enjoy the company is already loving in my eyes, I think. I feel like it's like I've gone around and about. It's hard to pinpoint because I'm not too sure if I fully know what love is still. And you did mention the first time you thought you were in love. I guess I can expand on that as well in this, since we have the next question is about that. Oh God! Honestly, this is the topic I don't know if I feel extremely comfortable talking about, but that's where we are here. That's why we're talking about it. Back in the day, obviously, I don't know. I don't think I even felt like the crushes I had on people were love. I didn't really feel like that. I would say probably the first time I felt like I probably was in love with someone was like this a situationship, talking for a long time kind of thing, and having like a major crush on someone, until I realized it's it's not that. So the truly when I was, oh, that's the next question, I'm sorry. Oh God, I feel like I'm so all over the place today. So yeah, I was in uni. The first time I thought I was in love with someone was in uni. Yes. Do you want to talk about your first time you were actually in love, Ligii? I mean,
I think it happened in my relationship that I'm having now, which is a bit embarrassing to say out loud, because I've been in a couple of relationships and they've been long term, and I thought I was in love, and I obviously said those words because that felt true at the time. But yeah, it's just difficult to talk about it, I suppose.
I know.
Well, so similarly to you, Kitty, growing up, I thought that love exists only in movies and films and books, because I never thought I experienced it in real life. Because my grandparents, although they lived in the same house, they had 2 separate bedrooms. I never saw them even hug, I don't think. So it's just, and my parents were quite shouty, and although they did sometimes like do nice things to each other, they more argued to me. Like to me, it just didn't feel like it's love, if that makes any sense. So I just felt like that isn't a real thing. I thought it isn't a real thing, but it was still something I was like craving and wanting and reaching out for and trying to seek it out in everything, which is where I think I went wrong. And after having done therapy, because of my PTSD and this hope and want and need for love, I just, if somebody came across me and they were like, hey, they can say anything to me and I'll just fall for it. And I just I feel like I just saw potential in people, and I was like, well, I will love them once they reach this potential, so surely I love them now. And the more I convinced myself of it, the more I thought that. And then I thought I was in love, and I thought, hey, I'm with this guy, we've been together for like 6 months, a year. Clearly I'm in love, right? Clearly I'm unhappy and things aren't going too good, but that's because we haven't reached this potential, because they haven't reached this potential. And I just kept saying that to me. And then I remember I woke up one day and I was like, it's been like more than 2 years. Enough is enough. Like, I'm done. And I feel like that's the first time I chose to love myself in a very weird way. Because I decided, like, why am I doing this? I don't want the rest of my life being like this. Because we also weren't compatible. And yeah, like, no hard feelings towards them and anything. And I'm very embarrassed that I was like that, obviously. And yeah, and I'm sad that I felt like that and I couldn't be honest even with myself or towards them. But yeah, I just don't think it was love. And then I would say this relationship that I'm in, it started out as best friends, and it kind of, I feel like if I'm friends with you and I spend a lot of time with you, I already love you as a friend, because that to me comes a lot easier than a romantic interest in a way, because I'm not looking for potential, right? I'm seeing you as you are. I take in all of your flaws and things that maybe I don't like or maybe I don't agree with, but that in my head I go, yeah, but if they went like that, they wouldn't be them. And it's a good thing that you disagree on this topic, because they can call you out and things, things like that. So because I feel like it started as friendship, it kind of was easier for me to kind of get into romantic love with them. But I remember I had this massive crush and I thought they would never like me back. Never, because I thought they're like this amazing person and like, yeah, we're friends, but like, really? Why? I always thought like it's like they took pity on me. That's why they were friends with me. And I was so blindsided by everything that I didn't realize that we were like having dinners together, just the two of us, like every week, or going to the pub and just chatting, just the two of us every week. And I didn't realize that it was like we were kind of dating, but we weren't dating. And then I met their dad, and it was just like so awkward, because the dad asked me, they're like, oh, so I heard you like him. And I'm, no, because I was so scared of even admitting that to myself, because I was like, oh, this friendship is great, I don't want to lose it. And at the time I didn't know it, but I was already in love, I think. And yeah, and then just things slowly happened, and then we became a couple, and we've been in love ever since.
Oh, yeah, that's very cute.
Yeah, but it has been a very, very hard journey, and very embarrassing to like look back on and reflect on. And I feel like it's important to talk about it, because some of you guys might feel the same, or I feel like if the younger me, when I was like 16, 17, starting to think about love and relationships, could watch this video, maybe she'd understand to like not chase the potentials and just take things for what they are.
Oh, yes, not chasing potentials. Yeah, that was a lesson I had to learn, I guess, with my first crush slash semi love, because I thought like this person like was a really close friend to me actually at the time, and I really liked him. I really wanted him to like me, and to like want something more. But it was just not there. It was also like a long distance kind of situation, so it was even more difficult. But we were talking constantly during the, like, we were chatting constantly all the freaking time. So like honestly, this person became like my closest person, even like to people that were actually around me in person at the time. But I just realized I kept guess I kept wanting something that wasn't there from the other side, and I was like not expecting, but I was hoping that this person would really like me back, more than just whatever this weird situation was, because it was never like labeled or anything, and at some point I had the realization that I probably like the idea of him rather than what's actually happening, because reflecting back, even also when I was going in therapy, this topic came up, I remember. I realized, I mean, I wasn't treated that nicely. I don't know why I was like so hung up on it. I was like, it's okay. Like, he can call me names. It's okay. It's just joking around. Like, so yeah, I'm glad that I somehow just realized, yeah, you know what, this isn't working for me. And I felt just very guilty about the whole thing. I don't know. I felt like I can't see other people, and like, because I didn't want to, but then it was a mess. It was a mess. So yeah, that was where probably the first time I liked someone's potential, or my image of this person, what could have been, unfortunately. But thankfully that finished. I stopped it, and I had to like get over it, and it took a while. I can't even, and we were just talking for like a year and a half maybe. Anyways, that's like liking the potential. The first time I actually was in love was my previous relationship, but that was also like, it took a while for me to get there. Yeah, it definitely did take a while for me to get there, but eventually I did, and it was so like, it was so easy even for me to say I love you, and just be like very, I don't know, really nice together. I felt loved. I think that's the biggest thing. I actually felt loved in my previous relationship. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And yes, it just wasn't meant to be.
At least now you know that, love exists, and
yes, I
reachable.
got to experience. Yes, I think that's like some of the biggest lessons were like, okay, so this is how people in relationships can be. This is how it looks like, because I've never been in a relationship before. And it just felt like, okay, you feeling, it also started off not like already dating per se, even though we met on the apps. I wasn't too keen. I was like, I wanted to have some fun around the time when I was meeting him. But eventually I just realized I feel so comfortable around this person. Like, it's so easy to talk to, and you don't have to pretend. And it's not even like you're intentionally pretending with other people. Sometimes it just kind of happens. So with this person I could feel just relaxed, let my guard down, and yeah, I think it was kind of, that's how it got me. It was definitely, there's like a lot of nuances in the whole process, but yeah, it was definitely something that I'm like, okay, I can look out for these things next time around, which is great.
Okay. Might as well talk about love languages, because I feel like that also was a very big learning curve for me. And yeah, so I feel like, well, everybody knows that there's different love languages. So there's quality time, physical touch, words of admiration, gift giving, receiving, and acts of service. And for me, it's very important, and I feel like it's also due to not hearing it enough in childhood. The words of like affirmation, admiration, like to say that you're madly in love with me. I feel like that is how I feel loved. And also acts of service, because I'm used to doing everything by myself, that if you do cook for me, I'll have this like meltdown, and I'll be like, I don't understand what's happening, I don't know how to accept this. So that took me a long while. And why I'm saying this has been like a big learning curve is my partner, his love language is physical touch, and it took me a big time, long time, to understand that he still loves me, he just doesn't show it the same way I do. I needed to accept it and understand it and, fully get it. And it took me a while and it was hard. And I remember I cried a lot because I was like, well, he hasn't said it in a while. Maybe he doesn't anymore. And he doesn't get me flowers every week like the other guys. And, it was just very hard. And I was like, maybe he doesn't love me. Maybe I started getting anxious and panicky and yeah, and it was difficult, and it was also very embarrassing again, because it's like, what else do you want? But yeah, so it took me a while to understand that him touching my arm or brushing my back or just playing with my hair, that was him showing his love. And yeah, now that I understand that, every time he accidentally touches my arm or something, I'll be like, oh, that's his way of saying I love you. And that's kind of sweet and nice. Yeah.
That's cute. That's cute. I do want to say, if we're still on the physical touch, it's a funny one because I didn't think it was my thing until my previous relationship. And even then, it took me a while to get used to the person. But once you're used to the person, I realized I actually am kind of a physical touch person. I like the cuddling up. I like the hugs. I like the, yeah, exactly, just being close, physically close next to each other and stuff. But before, I didn't think I'm that kind of a person because I always, with other people, I felt a bit odd, hugging and just it felt a bit oh. But I realized it's me that needs time to get used to the person, and I guess it's some sort of a trust, build some trust. But yeah, I think as a love language, it's a very cute one. A lot of learning around that as well. And for me, I would say quality time is one of the biggest things that kind of touches my heart. With anyone, it's even friendship, with any people, anyone who I would meet. If I have quality time, quality conversations, that's when I feel oh, this is good, this is nice. But I mean, I think we all have probably different. It's not like you just have this one love language. You have a little bit of everything. It just depends what which one is more dominant and which one is less dominant. And I think words of affirmation and admiration, they actually work on me like crazy. And I think it's similar how you just realized, probably because we haven't heard that before. It wasn't around us when we were growing up. So we were more keen receiving this like that, I guess. But then again, the only problem with that is I feel it's easy to manipulate, because I'm so happy to receive these compliments and admiration and affirmation, but then sometimes I think, oh, can I really trust that? I don't know if I can trust that, because I think some people are throwing stuff around way too carelessly, without thinking about it. And I'm a relatively sensitive person, and I do things get to me quite quickly. So if someone tells me that they really, really like me, and then the next day they're not, it gets to me. Which is very, I guess, it's interesting to see in my life currently, because I'm going on some dates and meeting new people and stuff, and I'm okay, I really learn a lot about myself just seeing how I react to different situations and how different people handle things, or communicate and everything. So yeah, it's another learning curve, dating and just like going and meeting people, not even like romantically maybe. It's such a learning curve. Constantly. And what I wanted to say, after, while being in a relationship before, it is also such a self-development, because there are a lot of things that come up, like communicating better, or like exactly like talking through your feelings, or like anything that comes up to you, instead of bottling it all up and then just exploding at some point. So it's definitely yeah, it's a process. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you for listening.
But yeah, you mentioned that you think everybody has like a little bit of everything, and some qualities, love languages are a bit more dominant. I feel like for me, it sometimes also changes on my cycle, probably. Because there are certain times when I'm like, I don't want to be touched at all. And then sometimes I'm like, I just want to cuddle, and there's nothing, So I feel like it also changes, and probably different people also bring out different qualities in us. Because similarly,
so it's more fluid.
Yes. Because similarly to you, I was like, I don't like physical touch that much, but now because of my partner, I'm like, it's all right. Obviously, it's better than all right, but I've grown to understand it and accept it and enjoy it, and it's love now.
Yes.
But yeah, one thing that I did want to mention is that I've been struggling a lot, actually, and it's taken me a lot of time and work, is to not listen to what everybody else is saying, like when it comes to relationships. And because at the moment I work with my partner, I hear a lot of nonsense about how we should be together, how he should be doing this to me, and how we should be living together. A lot of opinions, and opinions of people who don't really understand us, who don't know our stories, and who don't, it's an unsolicited advice in my head. And it took me a while to take it as that. Because in the beginning I was like, oh my God, they are right. Why are we doing everything wrong? And maybe they are right. Maybe we should be doing it this way and that way. But now I'm finally at a place and at a time where people commenting about it doesn't affect me at all. And I'm so proud of myself, because thank you, because it did take a lot of work, a lot of tears, and I'm actually very awful at communicating, especially when it comes to my feelings. So it did feel like I kept bottling it up, and then there were sudden explosions where everything was bad, and there were a lot of tears and a lot of like talking about what's right and what's wrong, and I feel like it also is very unfortunate that people only say that to women, because obviously my partner hasn't heard any of this. Like, nobody has been lecturing him about how he should be loving me and how we should be acting, which I find so bizarre, because I thought surely we're in at the same, receiving end, if you want to say that. But no, it's just women.
Yes, it's interesting, because when you have a family and kids, again, I think it's usually women that hear a lot about the kids and how you should raise them and family and stuff. Wow. And yeah, they're the ones who always have to be the ones who will always be responsible for the kid. The father, if he's around, it's great. if he isn't, well,
must be working.
Kind of a yeah. That's intense. People really shouldn't. I mean, there's this part where it's the comparison, like you yourself start comparing maybe your relationship to other people, which I would like to say how it's similar to life. Like, everyone has their own little timeline. They have exactly their own little, like, their own story, their own way. But the fact that someone is actually telling you these comments, like someone is like actually going up to you and saying these things, that oh, like your partner is not enough, that is intense. I don't think people should do that. I don't. Why would you? So, like, it's not your life.
Yes, it has been very hard to say the least. And I know that for most of them it comes like from I hope, a good place, but still it's, it's taken a lot in me to be like, I didn't ask for it. I still don't say that to them.
Well, you should.
I know, but then I feel awkward about it as it is. So nowadays, when it happens, I just be like, for example, it was Valentine's Day.
Brush it off.
Yeah, we didn't celebrate it or anything because it was our anniversary like a week prior, and like we don't care about Valentine's Day, we said that to each other. I only got him a card because I found one that had a frog on it and I was like, this is perfect, but we said no cards, no nothing. So to me, I didn't expect anything, and then I came into work and they were like, oh, so did he get you flowers? And I'm, no. Did he get you a card at least? No. Why are you with him? And I was like, well, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It was our decision. So,
Yeah. And also, it's like, it's almost like, no, it's not almost like, love should be showing up every day instead of just this one day kind of thing,
yes,
right? And like,
yes.
Why would you specifically? Kind of reminds me of Christmas almost, but everyone is always like all about gifts.
Mm-hmm.
It's always all about gifts. Oh, what did you get? What did you get? I mean, I think maybe it's a sore topic for me coming from a place where I wasn't always getting great gifts, growing up. So I never wanted to talk about it, and I never really cared about it as much as well. But I think people that just focus on like getting the gifts, it just kind of throws me off.
Yeah.
Like, if the person really liked you and like cared about you, they would be doing stuff all year round.
Exactly.
And that's what matters instead of this one specific day.
But yeah, it's been, I don't know, I feel like life-changing is one word how to say it, because as we've spoken in the past, I struggle with comparison even like when it comes to me a lot. So to see that I can actually stop comparing when it comes to like relationships, I feel like that's a massive step, and that shows me that maybe soon I'll stop comparing my body to others and my path to others and how I work. So I'm very hopeful for the future because of that.
Yes. And I would say, you know what, this kind of nicely ties into loving ourselves section of the discussion. Yes, I mean, comparison, I guess it's a tricky one. You always have to kind of beat it somehow. I imagine it always shows up. It's more like, how do you deal with it in that moment? And I don't have an answer.
Yeah,
it's really just starting to focus on yourself. That helps, and I feel like I've gone a long way already, because we used to be horrible. I used to be horrible towards myself, and just because I saw someone else, I don't know, like dressing up nicely, I would instantly be like, oh man, I look horrible. And just because I thought this other person like has dressed up nicely, I automatically become like worse off. It's weird. But yeah, loving yourself is another lesson that we all learned throughout life. At the end of the day, the one person that you will spend the rest of your life with is yourself.
Exactly.
It is yourself. So if you can build a better relationship with yourself, taking care of yourself, the better you will feel, and the better, the quality of life will just increase. And hopefully there's like less stresses. Life is difficult as is, without you being super mean towards yourself and like constantly bashing just because, you know, you see on the other side someone else is, it looks like they're doing better, but you never know what is behind the closed doors. You never know what actually happens. Maybe this one aspect of their lives are going well, but you don't know what else is happening. So
I want to say something, not to sound soppy, but I feel like we'll be great mothers.
you think?
I hope so. But
Yeah,
why I'm saying it is because we've done a lot of growing, right? A lot of reflection, and we're trying to be very self-aware. And I feel like if I was growing up with a parent like that, with a parent who wouldn't criticize me or themselves so often, maybe my journey to self-love would be different, and maybe I'd already be there, and it wouldn't feel like a struggle every day, and it wouldn't feel like a choice you have to make, I suppose, because some days it is so hard to just accept my existence. It feels like, but yeah, so I'm getting there, and some days, some months, and maybe some seasons are rougher than others, and I feel like at the moment I am having a very rough season with that, especially body image wise, but I can already see growth, because the 16-year-old me who exercised and starved herself just to like fit into the norm and be like, oh, I'm too fat, when looking back at pictures, like, where is the fat we're talking about, right? It's just crazy. And yeah, I feel like I give myself more grace and more acceptance, and I keep telling myself, oh, it's just one day, maybe you'll feel better tomorrow, or it's just a bad season and we'll get through this. And I'm hoping at the end of the tunnel there's gonna be a self-love that just stays and sticks forever.
Yes. There is sunshine on the other side for sure. And I felt like I'm actually, the first time around I was going through therapy, and then I was doing this self-development course and everything I feel like for a long time I was feeling it. I was actually appreciating it, and then I don't know, I guess life happened, and you know, changing the place where I live and ending the relationship was really tough. And I think it kind of beat me down a bit. I beat myself down a bit, and that's why I guess I'm kind of crawling out of that hole now as well. I'm yeah, and I have days where I'm like, yes, this is life. This is how I want to feel like all the time. And then there are days that are the opposite. And yeah, I like how you're saying, the focusing that it's not going to be like that forever. And it really isn't, and it won't be. It's just when you're in it, it feels almost impossible. And my approach lately, at least I try to really live through the emotions that come up, because I think quite often, like throughout my life, I've been trying, and I've been, I think, relatively good of like suppressing whatever I feel. Even if it's excitement, I would kind of instantly be like, yeah, well, or like anger. I don't know, like I haven't really felt a lot of anger in my life previously, so once these things come up, I'm trying to kind of live through them, and then it's easier to let it go. And you know, living through it doesn't, like, it can be a day, it can be a bit longer, it can be shorter, but once you do it, it just feels lighter. So yeah, but that's still a journey. I wouldn't say I always understand, because whenever I'm in these like difficult feelings and emotions, the instant reaction is like, oh, I don't want to be here. I can't, like, I need to get out of this as soon as possible. and then I think the longer I think about it like that, the longer it drags along. So once you actually sit down, well, it doesn't have to be sitting down, whatever it is. A good example for me is crying, probably. and like writing everything out on paper, and like really living through this sadness part, the sad feeling and emotion. It kind of afterwards you're like, okay, I've done it. Now I let it happen. Instead of being like, okay, when is this gonna be over? When is this gonna be over?
I also feel like what you're saying is society's fault in a way. Because I feel like, I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like we're not allowed to be sad or angry or talk about it. Everybody always says, just smile. You know, it is really annoying. And I remember growing up, we as friends, we never talked about heavy topics or cried to each other. It was always like, oh, we're always happy. And you never talk about anything that actually maybe bugs you, because it feels like we're not allowed to. And I am so proud of our friend group now, because we talk about things like that all the time at the moment. You know, we talk about sadness and grief, we can cry to each other, we can be happy and excited together, and we're just there to support each other, and we're showing each other that, hey, every emotion we're feeling is an okay emotion, and we have to feel it, and we have to talk about it, and we're not just robots who are always happy. Because if we were always happy, we wouldn't actually be happy, right?
Yes.
So it's just,
there is a paradox, yeah.
yeah. So it's, I'm just proud of us, and I wanted to say that.
Yes, I think we're doing good already. Maybe exactly. We're actually, if you think about even a few years back, I think we're at a much better place. I think the problem is that I'm always like, oh, but you can always be better. It can be always. I think that's the mindset I need to kind of somehow let go. That might be where the perfectionist part maybe kicks in. Oh God, I never, wow. This perfectionist needs to chill out.
Spoken like a true Virgo.
Where we are at now. Yeah. But what did I want to say? I forgot. It doesn't matter. Yeah, feeling through. Oh yeah, I wanted to say about how exactly it's just like quite often it doesn't feel like it's a safe space, or like because you feel a certain way, you automatically, well, for me that's why like the past few weeks have been a bit tough. I've felt like a lot of like major range of emotions in like in different ways, and I've just felt so unstable. And quite often again holding it all in, I guess it doesn't help. And I think that's the scary part. It feels like, oh, people will think, oh, you're unstable. But like there are emotions we're supposed to experience them.
I'd rather people think I'm unstable than them to think I'm a monotone robot. I feel like, if that's the choice,
like,
plus
without emotions.
Yes, plus we should stop caring what other people think of us, because at the end of the day, at night I'm the one laying in bed by myself thinking about everything and overthinking it, and it's awful to have this anxiety about, ooh, what will they think? It doesn't matter. Am I happy? Am I, are my loved ones happy? Do I have everything I need? Like, that's what should matter. And I feel like we forget that as a society nowadays, and that breaks my heart. And I'm very, very guilty of that. I forget about the important things a lot. But yeah, I'd rather be the unstable one. If that means I can be happy and sad. Yeah, alive. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's on self-love, I think. I don't know if we can go anymore.
I think we've been talking for a while and rambling a lot about love, and we could probably go for ages. But do you have any maybe closing words for the listeners?
I don't, maybe not a closing word, more like a summary. I felt it was a difficult topic to talk about out loud. It's just or maybe the fact that I know it's being filmed and other people can watch it, it just feels very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that we did it, and I guess that's one step closer to being whole.
Yes.
And closing words about love. I would say, like anything in life, everyone is on their own journey. And similar to how you can't change people. You can't help them unless they want the help. I think it's similar viewpoint on love, that you just can't push for it, I guess. You need to be more like aware, not falling into those traps that your mind is like, oh, but I really like, I'm getting these breadcrumbs, so this must be love. But then at the end of the day you feel horrible because you need to re-examine what's happening there. So not falling in the trap. I think the only thing I want to say about love is don't fall in the trap. Like that. But also everyone's journey is different, and every relationship might be different as well, so there's no point of comparing.
Exactly. Beautifully said. I don't think I have anything actually to add to that. Actually, I do. I've heard a lot of people say you can't love somebody else before you love yourself, and that's not true. And my therapist even said to me once, because I was like paranoid about this, and she was like, humans are very codependent. We need someone to rely on, and by loving them, by accepting them, you're also kind of starting to accept yourself, because if you can take their flaws in and love them despite that, surely you can do that with yourself too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wish you all to achieve that. And yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we're gonna see you soon, and we love you.
Yes, we're sending you love. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.